much they can muck up on, especially against a Sona Taric that Rogue has locked in. We're seeing Zoe being the mid lane pick for Vitality, one of Jiizuke's best champions. Really scary on that champ.
Very interesting. I'm trying to see now, the pick potential of Cocoon and Sleepy Trouble Bubble is terrifying. Obviously, you've got a lot of poke and some range to play with. What is the answer from Vitality? They now need to lock in their solo laners and open themselves up to a counter pick for Cabochard, as he will have final pick. Larssen, Syndra, mid lane.
It's really good into Zoe as well, because Zoe can hop forward and you can actually throw down your ulti and it follows her back into that portal as well. So a lot of mid laners are very confident playing the Syndra into the Zoe. Also, just as an all-round champion, it's pretty solid as well. Jarvan will be this last pick here for Rogue, whether that will be top lane or in the jungle. Most likely top lane for Profit, as Vitality now hovering at the Hecarim as well. It might be Cabochard's counter pick here. It is locked in.
Ooh, Hecarim locked into the top lane. So that solves some of the engage problem, at least as far as team fights are concerned, outside of the pick potential. But what do you make of Jarvan into Hecarim?
So what's really interesting about J4 into Hecarim is I play this a lot in the jungle, right? Because they are both champions that you see mostly in the jungle. The benefit of Jarvan into Hecarim is that because Hecarim has no like inherent gap closer and doesn't even take flash, if you ulti Hecarim, the only way for him to get out is to use his own ultimate. But that really heavily neuters Hecarim and what he can do. On the other hand, when you have a kitty cat in that bot lane, when you have the Yuumi, you stick her on top of Hecarim. That is one of the scariest combos in League of Legends right now.
Ooh, I can only imagine. The Onslaught of Shadows plus Final Chapter and Zumi's combination running you down. And of course, Hecarim, all that bonus AD from the movement speed. So we have our team compositions locked in for Rogue versus Vitality. For Rogue, it is about making a statement, developing and showing you're here to compete at the top of the table. And Vitality, it's bringing some faith back to a squad that is on an 8-game losing streak.
Yeah, let's not forget for Rogue, at the end of last split, they weren't too bad. You know, when they started bringing up people like Vander into the lineup, I believe his overall record was like 2-4 with the team. Not too bad considering the rest of the split wasn't so good for Rogue.
Yeah.
I think they were the only 2 wins that they actually got in the entire split. So Rogue is saying, you know what, spring split, give that a wash. Summer split, we're here to play.
And we're back for Rogue taking on Vitality. And already we can see both teams meeting face to face. Jactroll will be able to jump into Jiizuke, puts a point inside that you and me. And that's unfortunate to start the game.
It is unfortunate, it does have to blow his heel as well. However, as far as it goes, you know, you are Yuumi, it's very hard for you to get caught out of position. We'll see whether or not Inspired decides to go into that bot lane to punish that, because Attila doesn't have that second combat summon.
Well, Jactroll makes it very easy to get caught out of position, apparently. Doesn't need to blow the flash this time around, and heal is on a fairly short cooldown, so I don't think it'll be too impactful, especially against a Sona Taric lane that really needs levels and needs some time.
Right.
I'm feeling a bit spicy, sorry.
No, that's all good, mate. That's all good. You do you. I'm just going to sit here and avoid the flame as it comes my way.
Let's take a look through some of the rest of the keystones. Anything too exciting here? Conqueror on Hecarim and Inspired Olaf, respectively. Electrocute for Mowgli and Jiizuke, and I really want to see how those two combo up. Mowgli last week did some Mowgli things, stepping a little too far forward, and Attila and Jactroll at level 1 are going to get chunked down and zoned away. And this is partially why Vitality were losing games, because the duo of Vitality have just been bullied over and over again.
And if you're seeing this happen early at level 1...
Unbelievable!
It's... Oh!
How is this happening? Attila and Jactroll concede first blood at level 1.
Attila does not look happy. You can see that player cam right there. He is tilted as tilted can be.
Frankly put, that is unacceptable. Attila will teleport back into lane, but first blood giving to Woolite Sona.
Yeah, and we can see the pathing here from Inspired as well. I mentioned this, they might want to be showing into this bot side. He's cleared his top side jungle. He's going to be doing what looks like mostly a full clear. And if he does decide to go down to that bot lane, there is no way, absolutely no way, that Attila and Jactroll can dodge a gank from Olaf if he times it correctly.
All right, I am hearing that it is Mowgli pausing the game. I will get confirmation from the refs exactly why, but I did see him just point at his headset. So we'll get an update in a few moments. I shouldn't really speculate because it might be something different.
He's pointing at his headset. My bot lane's flaming me. Yeah. What's going on? They're saying better jungler wins.
I will find out, let you know exactly what's happening. But Vitality, I mean, there's so much pressure on this team. And the expectations were so high because of how explosive they were last year and how they were at the beginning of the season.
And Vitality, don't forget as well, in that spring split, they spent a lot of time towards the top of that table as well. They weren't just like a complete crash and burn season. And it is just, you know, this team did so well at Worlds last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very easy when you're an eSports fan or a League of Legends fan to be able to just say, you know what, if you sucked like a month ago, you now suck.
Yeah.
And forget how good you were 2 months ago.
The thing is, I keep living in the golden era, and we're starting to see this continued run of poor performance. And the critical eye is obviously in this bottom lane. I do have a replay of that level 1 death where Jactroll and Attila just got caught out. I mean, FoxDrop, talk me through some of this in the decision-making. Of course, Sivir and Yuumi at level 1.
I mean, decision-making, I'm not sure there is much going on up there, honestly. I think the problem is that... So the way that Woolite flashes forward here with the power cord, he knows that Attila doesn't have his flash, and it's like you cannot get caught in stuns like this. It's like that is the second stun from Vander that he's landed here, and it's like that just can't happen. Like, you just cannot be caught by 2 stuns at level 1. And as I mentioned, there is no heal on Yuumi anymore because she had to blow that at level 1 as well. So it's just, honestly, I feel like it's just kind of like a, I call those like brain AFK plays, where you just switch your brain off. Because you don't expect that out of Sona Taric. You don't expect to be able to get bullied right from the get-go. However, I do want to say, positive side of things, you are Sivir Yuumi. If you just sit back, sit on your tower, catch waves, even if you're like 50 CS down out of lane phase, which won't happen, but let's say worst case scenario, you're Sivir Yuumi. It's okay.
You've got some comeback mechanics, assuming you don't continue to make those types of mistakes, right? We are, of course, back into game. Officials reviewed the pause and no problems found. So, Rogue up 600 gold. First blood secured by Woolite. He's going to return back to lane with teleport. He's got himself an upgraded item and sitting in a pretty comfortable spot as we catch a glimpse of this Hecarim versus Jarvan matchup up in the top lane.
Yeah, Hecarim is one of those champions that has a lot of sustained damage, especially with that Conqueror, and Jarvan absolutely does not want to be trading like that. So you'll be seeing the way that these two trade is that Prophet will want to go for an all-in if he is going for that, or just bop Hecarim with that Grassly Undying. Whereas if Cabochard can find a situation where he can actually run a Prophet with that Ignite, with that Conqueror, he will come out on top.
Trying to keep an eye on just how much HP he gets back from that Spirit of Dread, rather, and obviously more minions around, the more benefit he's going to have from it. Mowgli will clear out the Scuttle Crab up at the top half of the map. But the wave is pushed very far in, and Cabo's already going to back. He's picked himself up the boots, the cloth armor. He's got himself the corrupting potion, and we'll just keep trying to put some pressure on this middle lane, top lane.
Larssen here, though, he has the cleanse, so it's really hard for Mowgli to actually go for a gank there. It's a very smart thing to do when you're playing mid lane, to take that cleanse to avoid Elise ganks. But one of the other things Elise can do is dive. I don't know about this one.
Well, let's find out. Where's the Cocoon? Mowgli stepping all the way forward. Cocoon finds its target. Prophet, momentary pause. He manages to get the shield, but with the help of the tower, trades 1 for 1.
Oh, that could have been really spicy right there. A slight misplay, actually, in the way they executed that dive. The reason why Elise is so good at it is because she can tank tower shots and then go up into the rappel to drop tower aggro. It's a really easy way to avoid all that damage that the towers do early game, but he dropped it a little bit too early. Cabochard will go down, but still getting a kill onto the Hecarim. Pretty nice stuff.
Yeah, really nicely done as far as Prophet as well with the counterplay.
Right.
Notice, by the way, Attila and Jactroll, they backed away. Jactroll, of course, no flash as he's playing Yuumi, but his AD carry that has flash has it on cooldown. So they backed away once Inspired showed his face. A couple of plates gets chunked away. I think they secured 1 for some damage on the second. And while that was going on, Mowgli made his way to the mid lane, just put some pressure on Larssen, but didn't really go anything further.
What's really nice about this this jungle matchup specifically with Mowgli inspired playing the Elise and the Olaf respectively is that both of these champions can hard carry ganks by themselves in the early game. A lot of time when you're asking yourself questions as a jungler, what lane do I play around, where do I want to go, you have to take into consideration how much help you can get out of your laners to set up and to kind of activate those ganks. But Elise and Olaf don't really have to worry too much about that, just so good at running people down. And so if you do want to gank a Sivir Yuumi lane, which otherwise would be kind of hard, Mowgli can do that if he decides to.
All right, so this was the 2v1 in the top lane.
So Mowgli takes the initial tower aggro right here, which is what he wants to do. You know what? I'm chatting total rubbish because he doesn't even take tower aggro. I thought that's what happened, but it's not.
Yeah, Cabochard, I think, started the devastating charge, or at least the rampage, and got tagged. He will get run down as Inspired and Prophet easily pick up the kill. But I think Cabo assumed the Cocoon would start aggro, and it didn't.
Yeah, so, and in this play right here as well, we're seeing this Jarvan into Hecarim matchup where if you lay down the Cataclysm onto Hecarim, there's no way for him to get out unless he has his ulti. What Cabochard did there is kind of a cheeky technique where you can use your Rampage or your E or Devastating Charge, one of those two. It doesn't matter. And you can tag the Jarvan out of the Cataclysm, but the thing is, if you do that, that's literally your only escape, and you just die anyway. So he's dead. He's done so again.
He is indeed, and that means that Rogue are going to be putting themselves in a 1,500 gold advantage, which, by the way, is very impressive because Vitality last week actually had some of the most impressive early game stats. At 15 minutes, they were up 1,200 gold. They had, the second highest towers at 15. And it was a few minutes after that they made some decisions that cost them the game. Today, Rogue, with this Ultra Liga squad, are playing the early game very well. They're punishing the individuals, and they've already accrued themselves an advantage.
And that's a massive benefit of having a team that was able to play together for an entire split in that Ultra Liga, in the Academy League. Because these players, Woolite, Vander, Larssen, Inspired, they were all playing together. They have a lot of experience. They know how they like to play the game. And so it means that when you're looking for these plays in the early game, when you're looking maybe for like synergy and stuff, you know how your team likes to play, you know what your teammates are looking to do, and so it means you can have games like this. Mowgli here is going to trap Prophet.
Oh, all right. Cocoon to the face. No tower this time round. Onslaught of Shadows is available to Cabo. But here comes Inspired. Demacian standard. The Dragon Strike gets Prophet to safety. Larssen's making his way up. He's got some power to unleash. Who will the target be? Mowgli failed flashes. He hits the wall. Scatter the weak. Locks down Cabochard, but he uses the ultimate to get over the wall.
This seems like a huge miscommunication here from Vitality. That was a very aggressive move for Mowgli to be walking that deep in the Rogue jungle to try and go for Prophet. But if we took a look at what Jiizuke was doing, it's picking up blue buff.
It was indeed. No support there. And as we quickly take a glimpse down the bottom lane, Larssen will find a stun onto Jiizuke. And Attila, this time around, dodges the dazzle. So he's able to escape the play.
He also has that spell shield as well. So if he can get those happy feet going and be able to press E every now and then, it does make this lane pretty boring, which actually is good for Vitality as well, because, it's Sivir Yuumi, you're going to be scanning really hard as well. We've got to see Vitality, they're making a little bit, kind of overstepping in that top lane play, but they've got to make sure if they're going for these kind of plays that everyone is on board, specifically on mid lane now. It's all about mid lane. A lot of League of Legends teams will play through their mid laner, because then that unlocks the entirety of the map when your mid lane can move around and go for these plays. We're going to see a replay here, exactly what I was talking about. What's really important right now is you want to look at the mini-map as well, because this play by itself is actually fine by Vitality if it is a 2v2, but look at this! What's going on the bottom right of your screen? There's 3 little circles around blue buff that should not be there if Vitality want to move this far forward. Like, I know I'm not talking about the failed flash, and that is partially for Mowgli's dignity.
Also, I feel a little bad because I think even if he flashed over the wall,
exactly,
still would have chased him, right? So,
like the misplay there isn't even on the screen. It's just the fact that as a team, like, you cannot go bot side as Jiizuke, but you have to communicate that together.
I've got some stats of Larssen and Jiizuke from last week in terms of their performance, and Jiizuke made a couple of obvious mistakes. The LeBlanc tower dive that I've already talked about was one of them. But when you look at the performance, KDA, look at the kill participation. Obviously, when your team's not getting kills, it's very hard to participate, right?
Right.
Damage per minute as well. Second Actually, second highest for Jiizuke. I need to double check that one. Regardless, Jiizuke made some big problems, and for Larssen, one of the rookies that there's a lot of expectation on his shoulders, he showed up in his first week.
Yeah, much more consistent as well, which is definitely something that if you are looking to kind of take down teams in the LEC, which obviously is the premier league of League of Legends in the world, as we all know, then you've got to have a consistent play in that mid lane. You cannot have, or it becomes very hard to play if that mid laner is kind of shaky, as we saw Jiizuke last week.
Well, this time around, Jiizuke is able to escape the stun from Scout of the Week, land a Paddle Star and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, so he survives the 2v1. And round 3, let's see what can happen this time. Teleport coming down from Attila.
And Jactroll.
And Prophet will be able to jump down. Prophet throws out the Cataclysm. Repel up, repel down. Prophet in a 4v1 is still surviving. He goes golden, buys enough time. Vitality, how can you mess this up? It's a 4 versus 1. Prophet's not done. The golden ages as Woolite arrives. Rogue, that was amazing! It's not done yet! The flash over the wall, into the crescendo! The final chapter's coming out, and finally, Woolite's running for his life. Jiizuke gets something back, but it feels like it doesn't matter.
One kill out the back of that, but that was pure cash money from Prophet right there. What an outplay! This game, it feels like they're just bashing their head against a brick wall, and it didn't work the first time, it's not working the second time, but huge credit over to that Jarvan. He's playing these dives really well.
Hashtag not my vitality. What was that dive?
That just seems so out of sorts, you know?
Yes.
It's not on the same page. And again, this Elise, you can't use repel aggressively. You're meant to take tower aggro and then drop it with repel.
And I have to turn the perspective to Prophet. I really hope we have ProView running on his screen, because surviving the 1v4, using every single ability, I mean, this Alienware replay is brought to you. We're going to follow the TP, but put yourself in Prophet's shoes.
It's now a 4v1 right here. So he dunks down the Cataclysm, flashes out, and he's buying time. He knows that all he has to do is buy time, because look at this TP that comes through from the Sona Taric as well. This comes through, and like instantly with that protection, I'm actually not 100% sure. Wait, I'm not 100% sure what that interaction was. But he instantly got the Taric ulti there, or am I blind?
It may have been started to channel while teleport was happening.
Right.
So preparing Cosmic Raiders from bottom lane, we have to look at it.
That's nutty if that's the case.
The timing, I mean,
right.
Rogue are just sitting there going cha-ching, cha-bling with Prophet, because that was fantastic. 3-1-2, Black Cleaver completed, 300 gold bounty. What a confident play. Oh, by the way, Polish Ultraliga is starting on Tuesday. That's where Rogue's regional team is playing, where a lot of these players have made their name. Right now, when you look at the league, players like Finn, Selfie, Heku, they're all playing over there. And it was that league that generated this Rogue squad that has a 3,000 gold lead. And they're putting pressure up in the top lane.
I just took a look at that play, that dive in the top lane. Literally, Woolite channels TP and Vander ults himself next to Woolite, and it carries the ulti over to Prophet. That is one of the most underrated outplays I think we'll see, because he's not even he's on the other side of the map. But Vander, mate.
It's only underrated if you don't highlight it. Right now, it's highly rated.
Yes, I'm doing my job.
Approved by FoxDrop.
The superior analyst.
There we go, Spring Split champion. And this will allow Rogue to pick up the Rift Herald in the top lane. They have vision control. They will pick up the first tower as well, just ahead of Mowgli and Cabochard in the bottom lane. And remember Vitality's gold lead average from week 1? It's going to be in the negatives after this game.
Yeah, 4K deficit at 13 minutes is slightly suboptimal.
Yeah, slightly suboptimal
I think
indeed.
I can say that and not be too out there. I think that's a fair comment to say.
I completely agree. Jactroll will be working with Attila now to this top lane to try and defend this minion wave. But for Vitality, it's not damage control. So FoxDrop, let's look a little into the future. Okay. How do Vitality now start to hold back or try to stop Rogue using their team composition?
Well, Vitality's wave flow is pretty decent, right? You have the Sivir, you have the Zoe as well. So you always have the option there to kind of just not let Rogue consistently siege your towers. And the thing when you have this like Sona Taric as well is that you're not the greatest at taking away things like objectives, right? Specifically the neutral objectives is something you rely on strong, consistent single target damage. It's not really what a Sona Taric brings to the team comp. So to that degree, Vitality probably won't be caught sleeping on like a Baron play and should be able to hold minion waves down. And then you just reach your iron power spikes. It's kind of like 1 or 2 items for Jiizuke, 2 or 3 for Attila as well. And if you can make the picks happen, if you can get the catch with the Yuumi Hecarim, with the Sleepy Bubble Trap, with the Cocoons, whatever, that's how you start clawing your way back into the game.
All right, so time will tell if those skill shots can land and if those picks can happen. And I think crucially, Vision's going to be so important to allow those picks to even happen. So Cabochard's got himself the onslaught available. Would maybe have just been kicked back if he'd initiated. Scatter the Weak from Larssen was well timed. He's, by the way, 158 CS. Luden's Echo completed. He's farmed himself up a little bit of advantage. Obviously got that kill as well. And there's a lot of damage. But the flag and drag, Prophet will get taken out by the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. And Vision, that's what we talked about. Picks, that's what Vitality needs.
Third time's a charm there for taking down Prophet and actually not have something go back in your face as well. 2 towers to 1 here for Rogue. That's the second tower going down in that bot side. I believe it was like 3 plates were taken as well, yeah. So it's a pretty profitable bot lane tower there. That no pun intended. No,
not at all, because of course he died.
He did die.
But of course that was what Vitality conceded, right? They had numbers in the top side river, right. So they get the kill, but they lose the ability to defend the bottom tower. And every time I look at the minimap, I do see a ring of wards that Rogue are placing around their strong side of the map. They've got 4 members near the Dragon. Attila's left alone in the top side. And Dragon will be secured here. Observers, thank you so much for highlighting the Vision. And that'll be the second Dragon secured here by Rogue as they continue to press the advantage in their lead.
16 minutes into this game right here. I mentioned that when you're ahead, you kind of want to look for sieging objectives, and when you can't do that anymore, you want to go for the Baron plays, or not even necessarily taking down the Baron, just denying vision around Baron to force the enemy team to come into you so that you can then attack them, force a team fight, and you're stronger, bam, sorted, bish, bash, bosh. That's going to be what's going to be happening in this game because, as I mentioned before, Rogue aren't very good at actually taking away the Baron specifically. Right. And that's why Vitality have set up a lot of vision around this top side as well, because as this game goes on, it's really important that this is the area they have the eyes on so they know nothing funny is going down. Fortunately, still 3 minutes till Baron.
Yeah. It feels like so much has happened. We're not there quite yet, but look at Jiizuke. He's got himself a needlessly large rod and that Luden's Echo, quietly farming himself up 170 CS. He's got 2 of his team's 3 kills. Kind of feel like he's just like snuck them in there. You know, that Sleepy Trouble Bubble a moment or 2 ago. So if Jiizuke can land some good poke, oh, that was a very good stun. Insta cleanse though, coming up from Jiizuke. I think he'd stolen that one from Larssen as the Sleepy Trouble was used. So Spell Thief working in his favor. Rogue now putting pressure on the tower. And as I mentioned, if Jiizuke has found his groove, he can set up some very long-range picks thanks to that Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
And Vitality caught sleeping a little bit here. That is going to be the 3rd tower going down to Rogue as well, while Attila's doing his own work in that bot side. He won't be able to get too much here, though, as Rogue is responding. Just as you were saying, Jiizuke having a bit of a quiet game right here, and this is really important because we do look back to the previous weeks, and he wasn't really that solid. His LeBlanc play was... I mean, you used the word questionable. I would agree, specifically with the amount of question mark pings that must have been thrown on his head, at least if it was my mid lane, and that's what would have been happening. Hashtag not toxic, by the way. And the thing is, right now, if you're in a 2-0 situation, that responsibility is on your shoulders. And what a story for this guy when he's got to turn it around from one game to the other if Vitality really want to prove that they are a playoff team in summer.
What I really like is that if any members of Rogue are caught out of position, they need to be very quick. Both teams can outplay. There's a lot of heals and survives. The tower's being pressured here. Cocoon from Mowgli will slow down, but the heals and the shields from Sona and from Taric can do a lot to keep a stunned or Cocoon target up. But similarly, if Vitality can find themselves the CC followed up with the Elise or Hecarim, they can also find the insta-give before. So those windows of opportunity are so slim, and it comes down purely to execution. For example, that's a stunner to Jiizuke. Flash forward for Crescendo for Woolite. That's just a zoning ultimate for now. It will unlock the 4th tower of the game. And while Rogue are brute forcing mid, Cabo and Attila quietly farming up the side lanes.
If I want to travel to the United States, it would take me around 8 hours East Coast, 11 hours West Coast. Or we could just draft Sona Taric, watch an ARAM, and suddenly we are teleported magically to the world of America. This happens all the time in NA. Teams just randomly grouping up mid, tacking it down. when you've got a Sona Taric comp, that's just the way you play the game, Trevor.
It is, but that's where the power goes. You say it so negatively, but isn't that what you're meant to do with those champions?
Yeah, you are. I was just taking the jab at an A, to be honest with you.
I know you were. I was trying to bail you out a little. You know, like,
nah, mate, I dedicated to that one.
Soften the toe.
I just dove straight in that kind of like, in the donut of hate right there. I dove head first in and I just swam around the gooey center.
It is coming up, of course, to Rift Rivals very soon. And by the way, Jiizuke, 8,300 gold. He's just ahead of Larssen. Got himself 2 needlessly large rods, so continuing to scale up onto power. And that is where I feel the pressure comes from Vitality. We've spoken a lot from their perspective because they're the team that's losing, they're the team that's to make things happen. What about Rogue? They're still 4,000 gold up. They've got 4 towers to 2, 2 dragons to 0, 6 kills to 3. I mean, you talked on how difficult Baron can be. So how else does Rogue look to press their advantage?
The problem is you can't really go for the objectives anymore because mid tower is a lot easier to defend. It's the shortest lane, so therefore it's hard for you to like consistently get the waves in there. And bot side is too far away from Baron that if you group up and go for that one, then you'll just lose the Baron, which is not a worth trade. So at this point, honestly, the only objective for Rogue to go for is the Baron. And the way they need to do that is just deny the vision because, you know, you said it. You can't really take the Baron down. You don't have great damage for it. It's not impossible, obviously, especially, you know, like Olaf's gone for the Warrior Enchant. You got ways to do it, but it's not great. Really, what you want for Rogue is you want to draw them around the map, pull them around the map, get them to come towards the Baron just to make sure that you aren't doing it, and then from that, use it to get advantages like this one.
And if you use that ARAM style, you can just brute force an objective. Vitality, not willing to fight the 5v5, not willing to open up the possibility of a tower dive. I mean, Cataclysm, Ragnarok, Crescendo, Cosmic Red, there's a lot of tools that are very good in tower dive. So you can argue if that's a good call or bad call, but I'm still very much impressed with this predominantly Polish squad from Rogue. They push their advantage further. They're clearing, they're challenging the vision. Now, of course, Mowgli's pushing it out again. But it feels like Rogue have done almost everything right to this point.
And I think that is, for me, one of the more impressive characteristics of rookies. It is confidence and patience. And we saw in the last game with Kirei, he was playing with a lot of confidence, and we're seeing this game with Rogue, the entire lineup is playing it with a lot of patience, which is how they have to play this game. They're not skipping steps, they're just going for the plays that they need to make. And it means that they're not making too many mistakes because it can be very easy to try and pull the trigger when, as you say, you're actually pretty good at diving. You have the tools to dive, but it is the way that you would throw this game.
Well, it's going to be very, very interesting few minutes. Baron is alive. Vision is set up very well for Vitality. They're quite clearly aware of it. But we've hit some very important itemization spikes, which we'll get to in a moment. There's your total gold. Keep it on the bottom lane, by the way. 15,000 for Woolite and Vander versus 11,000 for Jactroll and Attila. That early game impact combined with the fact it's Sona, Taric, and their itemization is a very, very large part of where the advantage for Rogue is.
Attila on this Sivir, it was one of the reasons why whenever I got auto for bot lane, I just picked Sivir because you endlessly wave clear, you press R, and you're useful.
Yeah.
So to have a item deficit on a champion like Sivir, not the end of the world, and as this game progresses and keeps going on, that goal difference as a percentage will get smaller and smaller, and it won't mean as much for Vitality.
Yeah, but the window is slowly closing. So let's see. For Rogue, I mean. You know, for Rogue, they need to take, or they have the opportunity to take advantage of that lead. Cabo and Jactroll unable to make anything happen onto Prophet. And we're into the Vision battle game. Rogue, they started off Baron. Yes, they have. That's a 4-man stack. Prophet has got his teleport available, and Vitality, they're going to look to challenge.
They should challenge this one. I don't know if Rogue want to do this. If you've got a TP coming in from Cabochard, he's recalled, he's going for the home guards before he TP's in. Gonna decide against it though. All
right, so I was mentioning the items just before we looked at some of those graphics. Death Cap was picked up for Jiizuke. Banshee's Veil for Larssen. And we're still waiting for Woolite to upgrade to that Lichbane. 24 minutes, trade of teleports. Correction, it was only Prophet's teleport. Cabo holds on to his. So that's actually a failed attempt here from Rogue.
I was talking about how Rogue weren't skipping steps. Right there, they just fumbled a little bit on the execution of this Baron play. There was still a lot of vision around that Baron pit that they hadn't swept. They put a pink ward down in the pit, but there are these two standard wards outside the pit. that meant that Vitality had proper vision on everything that was going down, and so very easy for them to kind of counter that play. Rogue need to make sure if they do go for that Baron, next time they actually sweep it properly.
Oh man, so now let's see what happens. 1-3-1 set up by Rogue. It's Syndra top, and Prophet was down the bottom lane, but he's got no teleport to him. So once Cabochard matches with that Triforce, and Deadman's played, he's going to be able to push him out and obviously can TP to any of the big objective fights. That's why Prophet left early and has backed away. So 25 minutes, 5,000 gold lead, Ocean Wind and Fire Drake for Rogue. And they're still very much in the driving seat, but it's up to them to turn that pressure and shut Vitality down, make Vitality have a 3-game losing streak in the summer splits.
Something that I think is underutilized on Yuumi, as she is kind of still a new champion and one of these champions that has a lot of like, I have a unique playstyle, and I want to see people do more of this, is actually stick Yuumi on top of your split pusher with a teleport and use that to have like a really, really strong split push. And then with the rest of your team, as long as they're just like catching waves, and especially in a game like this where Rogue can't really rush Baron down, you just need to make sure you're not getting caught out as the 3 members, which should be pretty easy if you're just catching waves and then using vision. And then you can TP in as Yuumi with your top laner, and it's not like you're actually sending 2 people down bot because you can just attach to the TP.
Yeah, I think Cabochard kind of tried that. They didn't really fully commit.
Yeah, they sort of tried it a bit before, but yeah.
Didn't really work out. Now, I'm actually going to be very interested to see what Rogue can do with, you know, Lichbane Sona plus Jarvan, with Black Cleaver, Warrior Enchant, Olaf. They do have a lot of damage, so it's definitely not going to be the quickest Baron. I don't think it's going to be the slowest, but it just allows Vitality with the teleport on both Attila and on Cabochard some options to respond. I mean, Cabo, he's pulling 20 CS ahead. Obviously, Attila's got a significant amount of CS, but it's effective gold. He's still working towards that second upgrade. Only sitting on an Essence Reaver for now, and 2,000 gold in the bank. So Attila getting very, very close to completing his next big ticket item. And now it is up to Rogue, right? They're forcing the Baron. Remember, Rogue has slowed down this pressure. They're looking for another tool to close out the game. They will get the teleport coming from Vitality. Baron's down to 3,000. This could be a battle in the pit. Cabochard's coming from behind. Baron gets chunked out, 2,000 HP. Getting closer to smite range. The engage from Prophet jumps onto Cabo. Onslaught of Shadows used defensively as Baron will slowly regen. He gets back up to half. Despite not securing the objective, Vitality have crucially stopped Rogue and bought time. This is what they need to do if they want to win the game.
And Cabochard using his TP there means he won't have it up again if Rogue decides to rinse and repeat in the next few minutes. But again, these 2 wards right here, when Rogue go back and they VOD review this game and they decide to, like, you know, where did we go wrong? How can we play better? Sweep these wards, people, please, get rid of them.
Not going to be able to do it just yet. They're starting off Baron. This is how Rogue, this is the tool they want to win the game. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will lock down Inspired. If he needs to Ragnarok, he can. Cabochard's ultimate's unavailable, and he's pushing that mid lane. A slow burn on Baron means Rogue are unable to play the pressure game and actually somewhat turned against them. I think Vitality's defensive play has been very good, and importantly, Attila did get the Infinity Edge, so he is scaling up. All of that good work from Rogue early is now slowly being undone.
Yeah, Vitality are very good at stalling this game out with the wave clear from Sivir, with the wave clear as well from the Zoe, and the fact that Cabochard is still so strong in a split push in a side lane means that you're really lacking those kind of weak links to crack open Vitality here. Rogue, they're sort of doing the right thing. I don't want to say it again, but the ward situation here is irritating me. It's getting under my skin.
I'm looking at the sweepers to see how many of them there are. 1 available for Inspired. Now Prophet's actually going to look for an engage here. Mowgli's got flash available to him. Jiizuke with the help of Jactroll starting to move away. Vander won't be able to find the dazzle. Mowgli goes golden with the help of that stopwatch. And there goes the final chapter. Big team fights erupting. That's the onslaught of shadows defensively. Cabochard will go down. The stun catches Mowgli. You and me for Jactroll buys some time, and Rogue finally find the kills.
2 kills for Rogue means this Baron play should be done and dusted. There's a smite going down as well from Vitality. All this time, Rogue was setting up around Baron, and there's a lot of benefits of doing that. Oh, Jactroll's done so. He's out of here as well.
Look, it's a kitty cat, and it goes boom. Larssen insta-gives him, wow, 2 spells rather. Sleeping Trouble Bubble here from Jiizuke. I don't know if the Paddle Star will reach quite that far, especially with that portal jump. And the Paddle Star does have a lot of burst, so there is a tiny, tiny chance of hope here for Jiizuke to steal. Woolite and Inspired will do what they can to body block. And it will be finally a Baron secured for Rogue. Vitality will get themselves an Infernal Drake. We've got some golf claps here from the audience in Berlin as Rogue. It took them a long time. You can see some of the inexperience around playing that pressure game and the vision game, but eventually it does work out. The idea was good, the execution, mediocre.
The execution was slow, we'll put it that way. But eventually, you know, all's well that ends well, right? So in the end, Mowgli gets caught a little bit with his pants down because they were, as Vitality had been for the past kind of 15 minutes of this game, trying to keep vision around Baron, make sure that Rogue won't be able to take it down. And this time around, it did burn them, it did bite them. Rogue are able to get these kills that sets them up to be able to take this Baron. And now that they have this, it's really difficult for Vitality to play because they can no longer wave clear. And Rogue, who just want to group up and bundle down the lane, have the Baron buff to make that happen.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of tools to tower dive. They've still got themselves that very big lead. And it was Vitality that was looking for more picks to try and stall skip, to try and claw their way back in. And ironically, ooh, it was a pick onto Vitality that cost them Baron. Now, despite Woolite getting chunked out, look at those heals and those shields between the Sona and the Taric. Paddlestar comes out. Jiizuke is doing everything he can. He's got himself a stolen cleanse, so that could be pivotal if a dive were to come down. And Rogue, they're setting it up. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will find out Prophet, nothing further. Jactroll jumps into Jiizuke. Prophet threatens the Cataclysm, but the base is open.
There's nothing you can do at this point if you're Vitality. You have to look for an engage, but you can't do that because Rogue's team comp is so good in these team fights. You're just going to be facing a Taric ulti. It's going to be ugly. Vitality, they have to step away, concede the inhibitor. Rogue, they're not done yet.
2-0-1 for Larssen Syndra. His scatter the weeks have been very impactful. I think Prophet has had a fantastic performance. He outplayed a number of dives. And of course, Vitality made a few missteps that were punished. Both, you know, live in the same world. And now Prophet just keeps stepping forward. Look, the scatter the week onto Mowgli that holds him in place. Sphere is being put down by Larssen. His Cabochard stunned up on the side. Vitality can't find their way in. You've got a lot of single target CC, and Cabochard's not bold enough to go in with the Onslaught of Shadows, not into Cosmic Radiance, Crescendo, as well as Scatter the Weak. Rogue open up 2 inhibitors, and they have used this scaling team comp very well, and they outplayed Vitality's early game moves even better.
The benefit of having that Baron buff means you can just bundle down one lane, siege, and there's not too much Vitality can do about it. Now that they have these 2 inhibitors down, even when the Baron buff expires, the fact that they have 2 lanes that are going to be constantly pushing in means that you can then leverage that benefit to work towards this top side as well. Paint by numbers, they should be able to close this one out with these 2 inhibitors down.
Oh man, it doesn't paint a pretty picture for Vitality, who will then go 0-9. The analyst desk set it up coming into the game. We talked about it. Vitality haven't been able to beat a playoff team since week 6 in spring. Now, with Rogue's retooled roster in summer, Rogue are looking better. They're on the verge of a 2-1 opening trio of games. And look at this, Attila forced to teleport back to base. Mowgli's looking for a side entrance, a flank cocoon. Yes, that's onto Vander, but it's not going to be enough. What goes up must come down. Rappel finally finishes as Mowgli will be able to escape with the help of Jactroll's ultimate. The inhibitor was taken though. 3 lanes of supers, doubles pouring into the base now.
It's just so hard if you're Vitality right here to defend because you know you want to commit to the engage. Cabochard, he's trotting around, he's looking for it.
And there's Cabochard with a devastating charge after the onslaught of shadows. And he's going to be forced away. Larssen I'm waiting to see the follow-up. Prophet and Inspired. There's the Cataclysm. The dunk comes down. Cabochard. He's not going to be able to do a lot more. He turns his pressure on. It's Mowgli that's already down. The 5-man stack of Rogue. They're pouring into the base. It's the ARAM style team fight. Jiizuke looking for Prophet. The Prowling projectile won't be enough. Here comes Woolite with the save and the heal. Larssen's on a killing spree. 4-0-1 after a double kill in the final fight. Attila gets chunked out and the spell shield will not matter. There's no follow-up spells, but the power chord and the Q from Woolite managed to pick it up. Cabochard's the last man standing underneath the fountain. Do Rogue fancy the dive? The Nexus is falling to the Winions, and Rogue will look for the Nexus. Rogue take down Vitality.
It was a patient game, a methodical game from Rogue, but eventually they do win. Something coming out of this rookie squad. This is very different to the Rogue we saw in spring. And Rogue want to prove, you know, in summer, we are different. We are not the Rogue that you saw before. Already they've, if I'm not mistaken, matched their total wins from the spring split in just 2 weeks. We're only halfway through the second one. A very confident display coming out of Rogue.
So Rogue got beaten up by Misfits last week. They had a few moments of brilliance. Then they had a very fun game against XL and picked up a win. Right now it's 0-3. Vitality are falling to the bottom of the table. Rogue sitting at 2-1. The roster moves looking better and better. And it is good to see growth from this squad that was born in the Ultraliga in Poland.
This is a good testament to the strength of those academy leagues and the benefit of the academy leagues as well. I mean, we saw Kire play before. He was playing in Misfits Academy 2. And you know, this Rogue squad, honestly, I'm really curious to see what they can do coming up against like some top tier opponents, because they look pretty confident in the way that they play. And yes, that game was slow, and perhaps there was some room for kind of like ironing out some kinks in the way they executed their game plan. But at the end of the day, they didn't really, at no point did I really look at them and think they're going to throw this game.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were very, very risk averse, which, like I mentioned, you can iron out some of that to make it look a bit more confident. But at the end of the day, it's better than the opposite.
Yeah, risk averse that leads to a win. That's exactly what you want if you're in the Rogue camp.
It's the foundations to which you build upon.
And as I mentioned, hashtag not my Vitality, continue to see mechanical mistakes. Actually, one of them is really well highlighted. The dive at 10 minutes, where Prophet looks like he's going to go down. He ends up being saved by a fantastic Cosmic Radiance, even after all of Vitality are thrown at him.
This is a 1v4 dive right here. And again, you know, Mowgli, if he's initiating this this dive with his repel, that's not going to work. And this TP comes down, Sona immediately shields, and then Prophet gets the instant invulnerability. That is a...
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're showing this. Look what Vander does. He pops down his ultimate, perfectly times it. As the TP comes through, it goes on to Prophet. I've never seen that before. I genuinely have never seen that before.
Unbelievable. I can
Such a sick play.
I have seen it before, but I missed it live. There was so much action, and I have so much like credit to give to Prophet because it was fantastic. At the time, I was yelling about the misplay from Vitality. I was so wrong. I needed to be praising Prophet and Rogue. The communication, the comms, the outplay. Look, Kia player of the game at LOL eSports, Prophet, Woolite, and Vander. It's actually a really difficult choice for me. But Prophet after that play, just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like I hyped out the play from Vander, but Prophet, that was not the first time he was caught in a situation under his tower. Yes. Both times he comes out with actually with getting something from it. And to be able to soak up that much pressure and still be able to give your team like a benefit, that it takes a lot of skill to do that, and was a huge benefit to Rogue's win.
Rogue end the game 2 wins, 1 loss, as you mentioned, equaling their spring split record. Where does this Rogue go? We're going to have to find out right now. Law standing on stage with Woolite.
Thank you very much, QuickShot, and thank you, Woolite, for joining me. I gotta ask. Tell me about the 2v2 first blood, because in my opinion, you're not supposed to take a 2v2 with Sona Taric, especially against this bot lane. Like, whoa. What was that?
Well, this lane looks pretty weak on paper, but if you underestimated level 1, you can like even die to it, like you saw in this game, because Taric has a stun and level 1 Sivir doesn't have a spell shield, so this lane is like really unpredictable sometimes, and you can't underestimate our combo. I mean, this never happened even in scrims, so I was really laughing, you know, after the first blood, but I was just calming myself down.
Understandable, but it also looks like you were more confident than last week. So was anything different compared to the way you played last week?
Yeah, that definitely. I think the more we go into the weeks, the more experience we will be as a team. Like we have 2 new rookies, you know, like they need to get used to the stage. Me as well. I wasn't here for 4 years, so it's still a comeback for me. I think we just get the experience we need, and we will get the rolling really fast.
Yeah, step by step. But it also looks like you guys are starting off summer really strong. So how is the mood within the team? Because it looks like everything is clicking so well between you guys.
Our personalities match really well, so the mood is really nice. But last week wasn't the most successful scrim week, I would say. So I wasn't like thinking, oh, we are G2 level or something. And obviously we're not playing the strongest teams right now, so it's really hard to tell if we're like super good yet. I think we need time.
Okay, what do you think you need to improve on to take on the bigger teams in the weeks to come?
For sure, our macro, like even this game, you could see we kind of struggled to play around Nashor. Like it went to 30 minutes, and I think with our lead, the game should be much, much faster. So obviously the macro standpoint like needs to improve.
Oh, still, it's a good game from you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, it's going to be a rematch of LEC semi-final, OG versus Fnatic. Who is winning?
Fnatic.
Fnatic. Let's go, guys.